Welcome back to The Jumping Mystic.
It is good to be back. And, looking at the material for today, it really feels like we're shifting gears massively.
We really are. I mean, if you think about the last arc, we spent months just obsessing over the where and the when.
Right. Picking timelines.
Navigating all these external paths. It was exhaustive mapping.
It was necessary, but yes, you're right. It was all about the terrain.
Yeah.
We kept asking, okay, which road do I take?
And today feels like the moment we finally stop staring at the map and actually look at the person holding it.
That's the perfect way to put it, because you can have the best map in the world, you can know exactly where every timeline leads, but if you don't understand the vehicle you're driving,
You're going to crash.
you're going to crash.
Yeah.
Or, at the very least, you'll run out of gas because you're driving something that wasn't built for that specific road.
So let's get everyone oriented. This is episode 13. We're officially kicking off the Discover Your Genius arc, or DYG. And today we have two specific pieces of source material. There's a letter about the why and a video overview that gets into the how.
And our job today is to kind of build the bridge between those two.
Exactly. One video is the why, one video is the how. This episode is the bridge. And I want to start with that word genius, because when I hear it, and I think most people are the same, a very specific kind of intimidating image comes to mind.
High IQ scores.
High IQ scores, exclusivity, complicated math on a chalkboard.
Think of a test you have to pass.
Yes, a club I'm probably not a member of. Or like a velvet rope I'm not allowed to cross.
And that's the standard definition.
Yes.
But the sources we're looking at argue that that definition is not just narrow, it's actually destructive.
Yeah.
It forces us to see genius as a performance, something you earn, not something that's just part of your biology.
Okay, so if it's not a test, what is it? Because that's a hard pivot to make after, a lifetime of being told genius means smart.
The core argument is that genius is a home. It's this state of being that happens when your internal wiring finally matches your external world.
It's not about being smarter than everyone. It's about stopping the act of trying to be someone else. It's about function, not status.
That is a big shift. To help get us there, the why source, the letter, it uses a pop culture analogy that I thought was surprisingly great.
Yeah.
It brings up Young Sheldon.
It's a perfect example because even if you haven't seen this show, you know that archetype. Sheldon Cooper is the poster child for our old view of genius.
Right. The boy wonder understands theoretical physics at 9, purely cerebral. He's the benchmark. He represents the intellect map.
But the source material says, okay, now look at the people around him. Specifically, his siblings, Missy and Georgie. Now, if you judge them using Sheldon's map, the intellect map, how do they do?
They fail. I mean, in Sheldon's world, they're just average, maybe even less than average. They're the normal ones. And that's the tragedy the source points to. Because they're not average. They're just operating on a totally different frequency. There's a scene where Missy picks up a baseball, and she doesn't calculate wind speed or run a physics equation. She just throws it with this terrifying, innate accuracy.
It's instant. It's a physical genius.
Exactly. And then you have the brother, Georgie. Not book smart, but the letter points out his sensory genius. He can listen to a car tire and just know the pressure variance. He knows where the leak is just by the sound.
Which is a form of genius.
Yeah.
But the problem, and this hits hard, is that they spend their lives comparing themselves to Sheldon, so they just feel less than. They are, what's the term the source uses? Undernaming their gifts.
Undernaming. That's the anchor for this whole section. It's when you take something extraordinary and you slap a boring label on it.
Right, you say, oh, he's just handy with cars, or she's just a natural athlete. We strip the magic right out of it.
Exactly, we treat it like a hobby. But what if Georgie understood that his ability to sense pressure changes was a biological advantage, a form of high-level data processing? He wouldn't feel like the dumb brother. He'd realize he just has a different operating system. He wouldn't be trying to run Sheldon software on his hardware.
This leads right into that central metaphor of the why letter, which describes consciousness as an ant nest. I love this visual.
It's so good. It really clarifies everything.
It says, okay, imagine looking at ant nests from the outside. They all just look like mounds of dirt. But inside, it's this incredibly complex, specific network of tunnels. And the key point is that no two nests are structured the same way.
And that structure is your wiring. It's non-negotiable. You can't use someone else's map for your own life because their tunnels are in different places. If you try to navigate your Georgie nest with a Sheldon map, you will spend your whole life walking into walls.
It explains so much. It explains why so many people feel lost. Even when they're doing everything right, they're using a map that just doesn't match their own territory.
But the source offers this real note of hope. It says, somewhere in your specific nest, deep in your wiring, there is a tunnel with a sign hanging over it that says, genius this way.
And I love that the tunnel is already there. You don't have to dig it. You don't have to build it. It's an excavation project, not a construction project. You just have to find it.
Which brings us to this vocabulary shift. The letter breaks down 3 states of being: good, amazing, and genius. And these aren't just synonyms, they're totally different emotional states.
Yeah, let's break these down because I think I've spent my life chasing amazing, thinking that was the final goal. The source says good keeps you practicing.
Think about something you're good at. It takes effort, right? Maintenance, you have to practice. It's a skill you're actively holding on to. If you stop trying, you stop being good.
Then there's amazing, and that, the source says, has you shining.
Amazing is for the audience. It's a performance. It's when you've practiced enough that you can impress people, get the applause, get the trophy. It feeds the ego, but, and this is the catch, it's still external. You're still wearing a costume. It's exhausting to be amazing all the time.
Oh, that's so true. It feels like you have to keep all these plates spinning. And then comes the third state, genius. The source says, genius has you belonging.
And that's the shift. When you're in your genius, the feeling isn't, look at me. It's, oh, here I am. It's relief. It's the feeling of taking off the costume and just settling into your natural function.
It's so interesting because we associate genius with this incredible effort, right? But this suggests true genius actually feels easier.
It feels like flow. It feels like gravity's finally on your side. It shifts the experience from performing a trick to, well, coming home.
Coming home. Okay, so if that's the feeling, how do we spot it? This brings us to the gamma load. This was my favorite part of the reading. It gives us a way to actually test for this stuff.
Yes. This is where we move from the philosophical ant nest to like a diagnostic tool.
So the source quotes Avengers Endgame. It's that scene where they need to use the Infinity Stones, and the radiation from them, the gamma radiation, is enough to kill a normal person. But Bruce Banner, the Hulk, he looks at it and realizes...
He realizes that the very thing that destroys everyone else is what created him. The poison for the team is his fuel. And the line is, it's like I was made for this.
It's like I was made for this.
Okay, so strip away the comic book stuff. The source is asking you to find the gamma in your life. We're not talking about literal radiation. We're talking about a very specific type of stress or complexity or intensity.
Which is so counterintuitive. We're taught to avoid stress. If something's hard, step back. We want the easy life.
And generally that's good advice. But the gamma principle argues that your genius reveals itself under a very specific kind of load. Think about a situation where everyone around you just starts to crumble. They panic, they get overwhelmed, they check out. But you get sharper.
You wake up.
Exactly. Your heart rate might even go down. You step in and just say, okay, I know what to do here. That's the signal.
So the real question isn't, what are you good at? It's, what catastrophe do you keep surviving? Or what chaos do you instinctively know how to stabilize?
It completely reframes your struggles.
Yeah.
If you're always ending up in these high-pressure negotiations, or you're always the emotional anchor for your friends, that isn't bad luck. It's you subconsciously gravitating toward the load you were built to carry.
It transforms pressure from a burden into a purpose. That's a huge shift.
And that's the why. That's the identity piece. You stop trying to be Sheldon when you're built like Missy. You stop avoiding the heavy stuff when you're the Hulk. You realize your design has a purpose.
Okay, so that's the identity. We're looking for a home, not a score. We're looking for our gamma. Now we need to get tactical. This brings us to the video overview, the how, because let's be real, most people's genius doesn't look like throwing a baseball. It's way more subtle.
Much subtler. And that's why it's so hard to spot. The video starts by drawing this hard line between talent and genius.
I've always used those words interchangeably. You know, she's a talented artist, she's an artistic genius. Sounds the same.
Most people do.
Yeah.
But for this framework, the distinction is everything. Talent is defined as something you work for. You take the class, you learn the formulas, you practice the scales. It's software you download.
And genius.
Genius is what you were built for. It's the hardware. It was there before you ever took the class. It's the operating system that was installed at the factory.
So if it's baked in, why is it so hard to find? Shouldn't it be obvious?
Because it wears disguises.
Yeah.
And honestly, the disguises are usually pretty boring. Genius rarely shows up with a trumpet blast. It just hides in plain sight.
The video lists some of these. The first one is unusual timing.
Yeah, this is the person who just knows when. When to crack the joke, when to launch the product, when to stay silent. They can't always explain why, they just feel the rhythm of things. That's a form of data processing genius.
Okay, the second one. Unusual calm under pressure. This connects back to the gamma idea.
Right. The server crashes, everyone's screaming, and you're the one calmly checking the router. That isn't just being good with tech, it's a regulatory genius. You're absorbing chaos and creating order.
Then there's unusual sensitivity.
This one is so tricky because our culture often calls sensitivity a weakness. You're too emotional. But the source flips it. It calls sensitivity high-definition data intake.
Oh, I love that. HD data intake.
You're just picking up on micro-expressions, on tone shifts, on vibes that other people are completely blind to. You're seeing the world in 4K. That's an intelligence.
And the last disguise. The ability to simplify complexity.
The translator. The person who listens to an hour of jargon and then says, so basically you just need to change the vendor, and everyone stops and goes, oh.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's a genius of synthesis, taking noise and making it signal.
But here's the biggest hurdle. The source calls it the normalcy paradox, and I think this is why most people never find their tunnel.
The normalcy paradox is the idea that your own genius feels boring to you.
Boring? That can't be right. It should feel exciting.
No, think about it. It's your factory setting. It's how you've always seen the world. To you, listening to an engine and hearing the problem just feels like hearing. You just assume everyone can do it.
So we discount it. We think, well, if it's easy for me, it can't be that valuable.
We have this belief that value equals struggle. If I didn't suffer for it, it's not real work, it's just me. So we ignore the very thing that makes us exceptional because it feels too easy.
Wow. That's a massive blind spot. We're literally walking past the gold mine because we didn't have to dig for it.
We are. And that's why we have to change the question we ask ourselves. The video is very clear. Do not ask, am I a genius?
It's a trap.
It's a binary trap, yes or no. And for almost everyone, imposter syndrome is going to scream, no. It just shuts down the whole inquiry before it even starts.
So what's the better question?
The source says to ask, what am I a genius of?
What am I a genius of? I like that. It assumes the genius is there. It's just a matter of locating it.
It turns it into a scavenger hunt. It invites you to look at the data of your own life and start looking for the evidence.
And to help with that hunt, the video gives us breadcrumbs. These are the clues to look for. Let's list them. Breadcrumb number 1. What do people thank you for that you didn't think was a big deal?
Pay attention to that gap when someone says, thank you so much for organizing that trip. And in your head, you're thinking, I just put times in a list.
You thought it was nothing. They thought it was a miracle.
Exactly. That gap between their gratitude and your feeling of effort, genius lives right there. Trust their feedback more than your own boredom.
Okay, breadcrumb 2. Where do you lose track of time?
The flow state. When you're in your genius tunnel, time warps. 3 hours feel like 20 minutes. You weren't forcing yourself to focus, you were just pulled in.
And breadcrumb 3. When the pressure is on, do you fall apart or do you get more precise?
Back to the gamma. Precision under load is the ultimate tell. If stress makes you clumsy, you're out of position. If stress makes you surgical, you're home.
The source gives these great little examples, like the mechanic who just listens to the car, or the friend who hands you a glass of water before you even know you're thirsty.
That friend example is perfect. They aren't just being nice. They're running a high-level simulation of your needs. That's empathy genius in action.
It really changes how you see other people, doesn't it? You stop judging them for not being Sheldon, and you start wondering what their specific gamma is.
And maybe more importantly, how you see yourself.
So let's pull this all together. We've got the why genius is about belonging, not trophies. And we have the how, looking for the things that feel normal to us but look like magic to everyone else.
The synthesis is really about permission. The source material is giving us permission to stop chasing the amazing and to start trusting our own internal design.
We spend our lives trying to add things to ourselves. New skills, new habits, new masks. But this whole thing seems to suggest the real work is subtraction.
Subtraction of the disguises. Subtraction of the comparisons. It's about stripping away all the things you're not so you can finally see the thing you are.
It's a call to stop undernaming our lives.
That's it. That is the key takeaway for me. We minimize our gifts. Oh, I'm just good with people. Oh, I just like organizing things. The big provocation from the source is, what if you stopped saying just?
What if you stopped calling it just a thing I do and started treating it like the thing you were made for?
If you make that one little shift, you stop apologizing for your nature. You stop hiding it. And you start building your whole life around that signal.
And that's where the gamma becomes fuel. That's where you stop burning out and start lighting up. You stop trying to survive the radiation, and you realize you were built to wield it.
Precisely. It changes everything.
This is just the beginning, folks. We're on the bridge. We've looked at the why and the how. But next time, in episode 14, we're going to start the breakdown of the arc and step into section 1.
We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually map that tunnel. It's going to get very specific.
But for now, take that question with you. Look for the gamma. Look for the things that feel easy to you but hard for others. Just get curious about your own map.
The sign is already hanging there. You just have to be willing to look up and read it.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you on the next jump.
See you then.